Good evening. Welcome to the October 2nd Board of Selectmen's meeting. It's 6 p.m. We're having it at 6 p.m. tonight because of a few things. Number one, my part-time job is turning into a more full-time job than I anticipated. And second of all, I think one of us had a meeting this morning, so we decided to have it at 6 p.m. and we may be discussing other meetings in the evening, just in case somebody does want to come in. They are more than welcome to come in that can't make it during the day. So anyways, we're going to go on. We do have a public hearing at 6:10, and that's for an entertainment license. So without further ado, do we have any public announcements?
Yes, got a couple. Just a couple items. One, at the last meeting, there was some mention of an issue about removal of ties from the construction or reconstruction of the rail line coming through town here, and I verified through PVPC and the project manager that the rail ties will in fact be removed, and there's no action required on our part to see that that happens. Second, just a couple of information items. The school contract negotiations begin the end of November. On 6 November, as you know, we have an election. One of the other hats I wear is counselor for Hatfield to the Hampshire Council of Governments. And there's question 4 on this year's ballot. Shall the amendments to the Hampshire Council of Governments charter proposed by the Council of Governments be enacted? And just a comment, since there's no really description of what it involves, it's purely an administrative cleanup of the existing charter. Some of the titles have changed. Some of the functions of the Hampshire Council of Governments have changed. For example, Hampshire Care is no longer under their auspices. It's an independent activity, and so on. It's simply an administrative cleanup. Another item, just a reminder to town staff, on 1 December, submissions are due to the Capital Improvement Planning Committee for capital projects for the years fiscal year 14 through 19. And oh, by the way, also the Community Preservation Act requests are also due on 1 December. That was it. Thank you.
Okay, Ed.
I'm good.
Anybody here for community forum? All right. It is not quite 6:10 yet, so
Motion
we
to
can go
approve
through the
Board of
minutes.
Selectmen minutes of 18 September.
I'll second them.
Okay, motion's made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Posted business is the town hall garage. Where do we stand on that as far as getting any bids out or any?
Look to our procurement officer there.
We did. We just discussed this somewhat at the last meeting. We've got some drawings that were prepared for us by an architect who lives in town, and I took it upon myself to bring them down to the building inspector to see if he thought that they were in fact documents that were sufficient to go out to bid. He looked them over and said they're excellent schematic drawings, but there is not enough detail in the plans to put them out to bid. As an example, there's no dimensions on the plans. There's not a scale on the plans. So I guess the question is, these plans still need some more work, and how does the board want to proceed with this?
I don't know if the plans need more work, Paul, or the specifications need to be done. And that's what needs to happen. You need to go and what the plumbing consists of, what type of a toilet, what type of sink, what the color paint is going to be on the painting. Each one of those sections has to be labeled, and then you've got to come up with an answer because they want to know what color to paint the wall. They want to know what to paint the baseboard. So with that layout, and the same as the carpentry, they want to know what type of doors you're going to do. So in the specs, you need to lay out the specs, and that's what I brought to Phil and you both, mentioned that these things have to be done. So the specs have to be made to go out there, and it's a matter of each item on the agenda, from the carpentry, the plumbing, the heating, what type of heating unit you're going to have. You spell it out on the specification sheet, and that's what's going to go in there, okay? And you make sure that it says "or equal," because if you put in an H.B. Smith boiler, it has to be equal to, another model can be available or used that's equal to that. So those are the things that need to be just gone down through and, listed, and you should be able to put it out for bid.
Let me do it a little differently. What can we do legally?
Pardon me?
What are our legal options with respect to procurement law? That frames the answer.
Yeah. Typically with a project like this, you would, you would hire an architect to, to flesh the entire project out, from, schematic to, bid documents. That's typically what you would do. This project has not followed the typical model.
Well, I'm talking about the way ahead. So what are our options that are permissible under procurement law? Can we go back to the gentleman who did the preliminary drawing to complete final specs?
I believe he was kind of doing this as a favor to the town, but I think he's...
Yeah, I think
You're saying it's lacking dimensions on that plan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that's all he's got to do is click a button and it's, the dimensions are there and
It's
everything
all,
is to scale
the plans
anyway.
are all digitized. As a matter of fact, I've got the plans on discs.
It's all to scale anyway, quarter inch a foot, so you
Yeah.
can, for bidding purposes, it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I mean, someone needs to bring this to completion. And typically you would hire an architect to do that. And I guess
That's $5,000.
Can we permissibly stay with the architect we have?
we could,
Well,
but I believe he's not interested in doing any more work on the project. That's my understanding. I have not actually talked to him one-on-one, but that's what I've been told.
I would recommend we stay with the gentleman who prepared that, if permissibly we can do that, because he's done 90% of the work already.
What's that?
Stay with the architect we have.
To just let him do the specs
Let him
also?
do the final.
But like Paul says, I do know, I think everybody received a letter in their last packet where he really wasn't
Well, we
interested in
should-
continuing.
Yeah,
with
I mean, I don't understand why we can't just do the specs. I mean, it's such a small job, it's just, you're using 5/8 sheetrock, you're either gonna use metal studs or wood 2x4 studs, insulation, drywall, suspended ceiling, fireproof rated.
I agree, Ed, it's not a big job, but it's just a matter of who's going to do it.
Well,
As I brought up,
I do not have those kind of qualifications to do it, I can tell you that right now.
okay.
now how about the wiring, is that all
That's all
set,
set,
right?
yeah.
And the plumbing is all set, as far as,
Plumbing, we need to put in what kind of toilet, like a
Right.
Toto or something
but I
like
mean,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's not a big issue.
That's not a big issue.
I brought this up, I think this will be the third meeting, about hiring our own carpenter.
Well, I
We do
love
have the
it
work.
more and more.
We have the work. There's nothing to snap lines over there and count up how many 2x4s or 2x6s or 2x8s you need for your ceilings, your walls, whatever you need, the sheet rock, whether it's fireproof sheet rock or whatever. He can work with Stanley. He would be licensed to do this type of work. And I think we have enough work for him between over there, here, we've got some work to do down at the, we've been talking for years about putting a little addition on down at the town barn. I mean, a lot of these projects could be done. Whether it's a part-time person, full-time person.
With the prints that we have, a carpenter could just go ahead and build it.
Absolutely.
That's the whole thing.
And an electrician could come in and do that. He knows what size wire to use, where to use it.
I'd like to move that we put the RFP out for a carpenter and put a carpenter on the staff on a temporary basis, a temporary so-called permanent. It'll be approximately a one-year job, and we'll go from year to year.
I have no issue with doing that once we have a design, but that's the execution phase. We're still talking about getting a final design.
No, but this, basically, that would be a
The
final
print is the design and the floor
The thing
plan.
is, see, we can't,
Here's what the gentleman said. Since the town building commissioner has waived requirements that a registered professional oversee the drawings and specifications and administration of the design, I cannot be officially involved in the project if bidding goes forward. So if we didn't go out for a bid,
Then he could be
he could
involved.
be, I'm reading this, as he could be involved in completing, finalizing the set of,
See, this is no different than going out and laying the pipe with the highway department. No difference. Same thing.
he could finish the thing, and then we could go back to exactly what you're talking about in terms of how we execute the project, who we bring in to do it, as opposed to going out to hire an outside firm to hire somebody and work it in-house.
To finish what, Jeff?
You're talking about the
plans, you mean?
Yeah, to execute.
Well,
To build it out.
Well, he could do the specs.
Yeah.
Okay, he could spec it out on what type of a furnace and stuff like
Right.
that. Okay, that kind of thing, yeah.
all right, so do you want to move forward with having him complete? And then, but just remember, we do have to then decide it. I mean, it's pretty much set in stone that we're going to have to hire our own person instead of going out to bid. I just want to let both of you know that.
That's true. I mean, if you hire a town employee to do the work over there, you don't have to go out to bid, so you can use the current architect. If in fact you don't go that route, you have to hire, you have to put it out
To
and
bid.
have the project complete to put it out to bid, because there's no dimensions or anything on that print.
Right.
So according to the procurement law, you would have to do that.
I mean, we're talking about work here in the town hall that we could probably work off of the material we have now. Well, there has been a motion, but if you want to send that out and have everything put up, if you're making that a motion, you can
I
rescind your
still stand with my
motion.
motion to
All right.
hire, to put an RFP out to hire a carpenter, town-employed carpenter.
Well, let's first see if we can get this gentleman. He may choose not to do it. And
If he doesn't choose to do it,
then
then
we're going to end up going out for,
I'll work with Phil and
I mean, like I say,
get the
there is
specs
enough,
done.
there's enough material. I mean, we have enough of material on that print for a decent builder to come in, carpenter, to
Anybody would
figure
do that,
out
yeah.
what type of doors you need, how many 2x4s you're gonna
I
need.
think that's true.
And again, he would be with getting the information from our building inspector to make sure that it's done right, and that's the end of it.
And the bonus for that, just so the board and the residents, is that we could purchase the materials through the town ourselves.
Right.
We won't have to pay any tax. So we could do that ourselves, purchase all the materials, and pay the employee whatever you're going to pay him, and stay away from a prevailing wage cost. So, I mean, the project cost should be down, doing it that way.
well,
So, I mean, I think to find out if somebody's out there that is looking to apply, I mean, I think, you know, Ed, you have a good point. Let's put the RFP out there and see if there's anybody even interested, and see if we could go that route.
Well, you're not looking for an RFP, you're looking to hire someone, you're looking for a vacancy announcement.
We're looking for, a position,
The town employee.
town employee.
On a-
With the
on a-
understanding that
on a
it'd be
temporary
long,
basis.
Long-term, temporary basis is how I would put it.
Well, it's the whole issue about funding that
Well,
position.
this money would be coming out of the...
Project?
It would
money.
come out, of the-
Yeah,
it would have to
out
come
of
out of
the
the
I mean, it's
project.
gonna come out of the project money if you hire somebody, good contract,
Right.
man.
that's why I say, this project will probably be a one-year project.
Like I
or
said,
a
we've got this
one-year-
project, we've got Town Hall project,
Yeah.
which we have monies for both. And again, I know it's been brought up several times, and I truly think we gotta do something up there at the town barn before we start having a problem, and hopefully we can
Well, you wanna-
maybe get some money this,
Yeah, you want to be careful
May.
doing that because of the town shot that article
well, I
down.
know,
so-
but I'm saying we gotta go back to town and just explain. I mean, if the OSHA starts getting involved, we're gonna be, and it's been brought up by their BA, so.
I mean, the other thing that this would be is the school would have the opportunity to use this person afterwards. The library would have the opportunity if they had projects to do. So it could be an ongoing thing. But it's not if there's no money for it, then that would be the end, we'd have to lay the person off.
Can I propose then, as a way ahead, one, that we have the town administrator and director DPW sort out how we might move forward on a vacancy request and a fill, and what the job elements would be, and how it would be funded, and what kind of category of employee it would be, and perhaps come back at our next meeting with that information. Before we say formally go do it, let's just let them sort out the mechanics and the issues involved that we need to take care of. And then second,
we can
propose that we go back to Mark Gillot, who did the preliminary plans, to see if he'd be available to finalize the plans for the town hall
I
garage.
guess my motion would be to look into hiring a full-time carpenter for the town of Hatfield, and seeing what guidelines and resume that job requirements we're going to have. And I can work with Paul with that.
All right, I'll second that, and
Okay, motion made, second. All in favor?
aye.
All right,
Aye.
we can get this thing moving, because we have to go to an architect.
All right. All right, we're almost 10 minutes late, getting sorry about that, but we do have put on my cheaters there. Okay, we do have a petition hearing from Ken Hole for a entertainment license at 4 Prospect Court in Hatfield for a DJ band between the hours of 2 p.m. and 1 a.m.
Yes.
Okay, discussion is, would you like to explain what your operation's gonna be, Ken? If you could come right up here, just so people can hear you basically.
We run a bar grill, and we like to either have a DJ or maybe a band, but it's not really big enough to put a band in there, and just either on weekends or Friday night or a special occasion, somebody wants to have a DJ in there or something like that. We like to be able to have them come in there and play.
Okay. Either one of you have any questions?
Have we received any public comments?
Is there any
I
public
have not.
comments in the audience?
No.
Okay, the question, a couple things that I have here, and I know we had the same thing over at Fishtails here when we gave them an entertainment license for DJ and band. One is that the sound stays within the premises, on the premises, the doors, windows shut. The sound doesn't go out into the neighborhood. Okay, that would be one of the requirements that I'm suggesting, okay? And the second one is that it end at midnight, the same as Fishtails.
At
Okay,
1 o'clock.
it says at midnight, I just had key check that now,
That'll be fine.
okay? So the reason for the sound, keeping it inside, that way the neighbors aren't going to complain and you keep the sound level down. Okay. So other than that, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, there's no problems.
I move to close the
I will-
public hearing.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, public hearing is closed at 6:22, and it was actually opened at 6:19.
I move to grant the petition of HNE Incorporated doing business as Double B's Bar and Grill at 4 Prospect Street, Hatfield, Mass. for a DJ band entertainment license.
With the following conditions?
With the conditions as Mr. Lesko has outlined, operation 2 p.m. to 12 a.m. and other restrictions.
And if the sound requirement is to keep within the walls of the premises.
Okay, motion's made and seconded.
I'll second
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
it. Aye.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, back to our business. I guess we can put the town hall renovation under the same category as the town hall garage, which is gonna be the same
That's
project
the right way to go.
as we discussed with the builder, and possibly we'll get this done with the town hall. And if we do go out and get ourselves a carpenter, I'm hoping we have enough of.
Now, the one thing that this will not cover is the elevator,
The elevator,
okay? The elevator is a whole separate issue here.
Yeah.
unless you feel that we should do the whole first floor project. I mean,
Well, you know, we have a request for qualifications out there right now.
I saw that.
Yep.
That, and they are due on October 18th.
all right,
I mean, you know, all we have now is concepts, you know.
right.
We've got nothing on paper, really. So, you know, yeah, the yellow, you know, we have ADA issues that need to be dealt with, and I'm not sure
All right, okay.
how we're going to deal with those. You know, we really need somebody who knows what they're doing to come in here and tell us, you know, what the best approach is here. So, you know, I see this as a, you know, it's not a real complicated project, but it's complicated enough that we need an architect. And we need an architect to develop plans for us. So we have an RFQ out there. The proposals are due on the 18th. Moving forward, we are not required to have a building committee. We can discuss that later, whether or not we want to go that route. But under our designer selection procedures that the town adopted 10 years ago, we do have to have a designer selection committee consisting of 5 people. So,
I thought we already voted to make the department, the DPW department,
well, I think
and
you
vice establishing
I
a
think
building
you-
committee per se, with discretion to the director DPW to, if he chose, to
okay,
establish
Well,
a building committee.
all right. Is that how you remember it, Phil?
Yes, I think that the motion
already
So
was
voted.
you
gonna be
basically
up to you.
delegated
to,
that authority.
for the DPW director.
To the
write
departmental
committee.
level,
Okay,
If needed.
all right,
Vice-
that's fine.
building committee. Now, he can
I
still
just,
have a building committee, should he choose,
Right.
and he'll,
thought that's
under his auspices, as opposed to the Board of Selectmen.
okay, all right. Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that, because I reviewed the procedures, and it, you know, specifically states in there that, there, you know, there has to be a designer selection committee consisting of 5 people. One of the individuals has to be someone who is affected by, you know, the building project, someone who works in the building, and so just wanted to make sure that we're...
I
that we're
move
good
that
with
the town administrator be, since he'd be affected by the building and could represent the interests of the Board of Selectmen, be the representative and any such
Second.
panel?
Okay, a motion's been made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Just add one more to the list.
Thanks, Paul.
Here to help.
All right, I guess next is the window replacement project. I see when I was walking in, we have the windows on the north side, northeast side done.
They're pretty much
You're
all.
all
All the
okay.
windows, except for the attic windows, are installed. So, I don't know, there was 40-something windows, and the basement windows aren't installed yet. But the project probably will be completed next week, the way the time frame looks now. So, I mean, it went very well. They look
There's a
good.
perfect match.
They're beautiful.
There's a perfect match to what was there in terms of the color, the.
Can't tell the
everything.
difference.
You couldn't, you walk in the room, you wouldn't know that there were new windows.
Well, the sound
So,
and it's
yeah.
warmer also.
Well, I don't know how you're gonna tell that right now.
Yeah, I think they've only got a few more windows to do up here, and then they just have to do the windows in the basement. So, it's.
Well, again,
It's
what
been-
about,
it's-
What windows did those end up, were those fold out or the?
Yeah,
Awning on that side.
all awning except for the ramp.
Yeah.
The rest will be all awning windows.
I couldn't remember. what
Now,
was
once
on
the energy grant is expended, all of it's expended, which it should be on the town hall windows here,
will be.
then we can apply for the second round, and I think it's due now. We can apply for what, like these windows, then we got the sewage treatment plant, there's work to do up there on the heating and so on. So there's quite a few projects that are out there that I'd love to do, isn't there, from the original?
Yes, because, I mean, what do we have, 4 projects in the initial grant, and I think
Yeah, we had the window
completed-
curtains,
We had the electric truck, the
truck.
curtains,
the
the
water.
wastewater, the water plant, the windows, and the wastewater plant. So there's still, this is a partial in the wastewater plant to complete the original application.
well, that brings up, not to divert here, but we need to update the plan.
Also, we need to make sure that the reporting for the grant is in on time, too.
Yeah, I've been working on that.
30 November.
I've been working on that, and it's,
Well, I don't want them
It's
to
gonna
come back
be in-
and say they're not going to give it to us because,
Yeah.
we're not reporting on it.
No, but
we'll get it.
again, this is not a small matter. We committed to the 5-year 20% reduction. We need to be able to show
Right.
progress against our 5-year goal,
Yeah,
and we're out of time.
My understanding is that the whole, the 5 million town hall renovation plan was a big part of
A big
that.
player that
Big player in that, and that's not
changed.
happening.
Right,
So,
so we need to revise.
Getting back to hiring process, is this something we want to put out on TV and stuff like that? Or we're going to, after the next meeting, we'll discuss that?
Yeah, we'll discuss that.
Okay, we'll just put the preliminary stuff together.
yeah.
Yep,
yeah,
let them get
yeah.
everything set, what they
Develop a-
want.
Phil and I
what
can
we're gonna
develop a
need,
job
and-
description.
Yeah.
Plus the board will have to set a rate of pay.
Yes.
Right. All right, next, tax classification. Did you want to speak on that? Or are you all set?
I'm not, I didn't have anything on that.
Okay, so
Oh,
we're
that's me.
just taking that off.
Paul, no, Paul had,
Oh, you do, okay, well, speak up. Sorry.
I gave you some information in
Yep.
the packet, which was given to me by
DOR.
town clerk, actually, and it was kind of interesting. I, as apparently just about everybody else who works in municipal government, always thought that the tax classification hearing had to be done at the same time that the tax rate is set. Of course, they really don't have much to do with one another, but it was, some information from DOR that, once the values are certified and you've gone through the process, then you can have the tax classification hearing. And they're recommending that communities do it sooner rather than later because everybody's trying to do it at once, and DOR gets backed up. So I talked with Jenny in the assessor's office, and I suggested to her, well, how about early November? Would that would that work? Do you think that would
We
work?
usually
And-
have it first of
Yeah.
November.
Yeah, so, once we establish our meeting schedule, I would say that, the first meeting that we decide to hold in November, we also hold the classification.
That has to be
That's a-
posted too, right?
Yes.
It's a joint meeting between the Board of Assessors and the
Yes,
Selectmen.
Right.
yeah, and I know, so that will also probably need to be a night meeting as well, because of the schedules of some of the assessors.
All right, why don't you talk with them and see our first meeting in November, whatever that's gonna be, and just make sure they know about it, so we can post the whole thing.
We'll make
Yeah.
sure they're prepared
Yeah.
for it, and everything has been certified and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I believe it is, but
Yeah, when I talked to Jenny, she said, well, we should be okay. I think we'll be ready by then. I said, well, if you're not, then,
but it's,
We
they have to
reschedule.
tell us that
Yeah.
they're ready.
yeah, yeah. Well, she thinks they should be ready by that.
Okay.
Right.
All right. All right, I think all you have, the letter from the
PVTA.
PVTA,
Or whatever
for the
it is, yeah,
PVTA.
for the PVTA.
The medical offices up in West Hatfield are requesting that for the Board of Selectmen to try to get PVTA service over to them so they can, because from what I understand, I guess a lot of the patients are coming from Northampton,
And other
From,
towns, yeah.
and I think right here in town, I'm not sure how many are going, but we do have our own service right now.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is more that the people in Northampton can't get to this office or back, so.
Yeah.
I mentioned to Paul earlier in the week that Franklin County and Northampton goes
Right.
back and forth to Greenfield
Right.
by Route 5. So maybe, I don't know if it's going to be our job to contact them to see if,
It would be our job. They're not, the transit authorities are not going to talk to private entities. They want.
'Cause they're gonna wanna enter into
They want to
agreement.
talk to municipalities.
and, it's, right now, they do stop for people. If you stand out here at the end of Chestnut Street, they
Right.
will pick you up.
Yeah.
And if you stop out by the Sunoco garage or by the medical
There's a few
building.
stops right along the,
Yeah.
yeah.
They do stop and they do pick you up, so they do that. It'd be to their benefit because it'd get more income coming from them.
Yeah.
But maybe what you should do is contact them and find out, if they could maybe make a contract with the individual businesses.
I've
have it
looked
through
I've looked
town.
at their routes, and I've got on the website for PVTA and the Franklin Transit Authority, and PVTA doesn't come any farther up Route 5 than Bridge Road when they've got a route that goes out to Williamsburg, so they don't even come up this far. But yeah, Franklin County
Is it
goes
Franklin that
down.
goes all the way through there?
They have stops in front of the Academy of Music in Northampton 5 times a day. So it seems to me, maybe we could coordinate something, with the 2 regional transit agencies.
They might
to-
just put it on their stop route.
Yeah, and I mean, they're up and down. They're down 5 times a day, and they're back up again 5 times a day, so.
I would move that the Board of Selectmen endorse the letter that we've received from these businesses to both the Pioneer Valley Transit Authority and the Franklin Regional Transit Authority, and meanwhile, get a point of contact for these folks that we could include in that letter for them to follow up with on terms of specifics, but simply a correspondence signed out by the chair to the regional transportation authorities endorsing this request and requesting their support. And, how many folks, how often, what days of the week, what
Right.
times?
Yeah.
That's something we're not
Right.
going to get in the middle of. That needs to be coordinated
We
directly
need
with the...
to work with these folks
Right.
for that.
Okay, so
those
the
kind of
motion will
specifics.
include looking into how much it's going to cost us and so on.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, resignations and appointments. You probably all have it from Mr. Bartlett, that they have a vacancy on the board. And it is a 5-member board, and right now they're down to 4, so they are looking somebody for the planning board. If anybody out there has any desire to be on the planning board, please get a hold of Town Hall, and we'll see what we can do to have them get on. How's that?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Okay.
We did have a
That's an
couple
elected
people.
position, right?
Right, but
So it
I
needs to
think
be jointly between us
it
and
would
the...
have to be a joint between us and the
Planning board.
planning board.
Right.
We did have a couple of people that just sent us requests for,
Yeah, we had one individual who,
it was more in the housing end of it, though.
yeah, I haven't gotten a
Actually,
hold of
two
him
of
yet,
them
because I was waiting to get a list of what the actual vacancies are. But I know planning board wasn't one.
Right.
Well, that wasn't one of the boards he was interested in being on.
Right.
Housing and Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Recreation, yeah.
And I think he was interested on the Council on Aging. I'm pretty sure we have some vacancies there, or at least one. But
All right, so,
Appointments, did we get anything from the Emergency Management Committee? There was supposed to be a letter coming for,
no,
Carrie?
I have not.
okay.
okay, Selectmen's meeting schedule.
Yeah, I asked this to be put on. We've got, my own situation, I've got Hampshire Council of Government meetings, I'm on 3 committees there. MPO, Pioneer Valley, I know Ed's got the Hampshire Selectmen Association, I've got capital budgeting, we've got the operating budget hearings to be held here shortly, we've got holidays coming up, and I think it's time we lock down our November, December,
Yeah, definitely.
January schedule.
The last
think we were
scheduled
the
meeting
18th.
is October 16th, so there's
Is it 16th?
16th,
Yeah,
so
okay.
there's nothing scheduled beyond that.
Yeah, November 6th would have been our next, but that's Election Day, so it can't be November 6th. After that, for a Selectmen meeting. And then there was I saw something from Planning Board, they're talking about a master plan session tentatively scheduled on the 7th of November at 7 p.m. at Smith Academy.
Is there any reason we can't do it on the 6th?
It's Election Day.
Yeah, but we
I don't think,
I think it's,
I don't think you
can't
can.
hold a public hearing, but you can have a board meeting on Election Day.
Yeah, if you we meet downstairs. I think we had a meeting.
We did, last year we had one on Election Day.
We met downstairs.
You can't have a public hearing on
Public
Election Day.
hearing. Yeah, I think Ed's right.
So the 6th would work.
Okay, if you can.
And how's the 20th look for you guys?
Could we make that at 8:30 instead of 8 o'clock? I'm at the airport at 6:30.
we talking morning or night here?
What time you want to start, Joe?
About 9 in the morning.
In the morning.
AM or-
I'm at 6:30, I've got a flight, take care of at Bradley Field. I can get back in an hour.
All right,
Well, I can-
that'll be fine.
8:30 or 8:15?
8:15 will be fine.
8:15?
Yeah.
If that's the meeting that you want to do with the assessors, that would have to be a night meeting.
Right. That's what I was,
Oh, okay.
Well, you,
No,
I mean, I don't have a problem with the night meeting that night either.
Okay.
Well, we can't hold a public hearing that night, though. So it's going to
Yeah.
have to be the next,
Or we have it on a different day.
what if
So what if
the
we
next
had the-
Tuesday, the following Tuesday?
13th?
Sure.
13th, we'll just have the public hearing, classification hearing.
So
So
we're-
that's
we're-
tentatively we'll put in for, what, 6:30? 6,
I'd say 6:30.
6 or 6:30?
6 sounds good.
Either one of those, I think, will be fine.
6?
Okay, so 11, 13,
I can't speak for everybody else. I'm sorry.
No, but I'm just saying around 6 would,
Yeah,
this is tentatively. You guys will get back to us. Okay, but that's just for the hearing, and if we have to take up any other little things that might come up.
20th? Did you want?
No, I'm going to be in Delaware.
Okay. So then the
That week.
27th?
27th, yeah, that's fine.
27th is good for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
For, what's that, our second, another Board of Selectmen meeting?
8?
8 o'clock?
And that's at 8:15 or?
Oh, 800 in the morning.
How about 9 o'clock?
Well,
Think about your
Paul's
town
coming-
administrator
Yeah, he's
here.
coming from Pittsfield, don't forget.
I'm up at 4:30 to get up there. You can get up 4:30 to be here.
8:45?
8:45 works for me, yeah.
Oh,
8:45, all right.
well, let's just make it at 9 o'clock, for God's sake.
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
9
All right, 9 o'clock?
We're slipping here.
I like the 9 o'clock meetings,
Almost
okay?
lunchtime,
Okay.
9 o'clock. Now, how about budget hearings?
So that takes care of November. Let's do December while we're on it. You want to do the 4th and the 18th, and that's it? Because you got the holidays?
I'm here for the 4th and 18th, yes.
Okay, the 4th and 18th.
What time?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock in the morning,
All right,
9 a.m.
grudgingly. I do them at 6 with Jan.
Yeah, I gotta be at Jimmy too. 7.
At 7?
Hopefully I'm gonna be done with that job quick.
Okay, that'll put us...
You're going to know Lanesboro as well as I do.
How about January?
You want to go January?
If I can find it.
Do the 8th and the 22nd?
Just, I'm a little slow here, I gotta find a January. 8th, okay.
That's staying on the schedule of 2nd and
Okay.
4th.
At 9 o'clock each.
Yep.
Okay, now, we need to meld in the budget hearings. It should be, again, with, remember, we did it last year
With the finance.
jointly with the Finance Committee,
Okay.
but
I don't know if they can make it at night, or if they can make it in the morning. So we may have, if they can't, then we'll have to make some,
Yeah. I mean, I met with the
Evening
chairman
meetings.
yesterday, Sean. So we're going to get together again soon, and, you know, start the process here, get the, you know, figure out, start honing in on a schedule
yeah.
for meetings.
We'll wait for, see what they have.
well, okay.
We can try to work around
Mm.
them or whatever.
Okay, not-
so
not to
we'll
beat a
put it
dead-
until January.
Not to beat a dead horse, but we need to get the tasker out to kick things off. For the budget hearings.
Is that as far as you want to go with the meetings?
You want to do February?
Well, let me do it this way.
I'm just saying, if we're going to start meeting with the,
Before he talks to the Finance Committee, are there preferable days of the week and times of the day that we would like to suggest? So they don't come back and say, well, no,
Yeah,
that's,
they come up with a bunch of dates, oh, we can't do
yeah,
that.
we can't do that.
I mean,
but see it-
Tuesdays, figure every Tuesday.
Paul, could I suggest, when we start meeting with the finance committee and everybody together, we do a meeting wizard? What's called a meeting wizard, and what that is you
Meeting maker,
pick
same thing.
certain dates, and then find out who can be there on the certain dates, and then the one that everybody can be at, that's the day that you
Okay.
you book it for. Kia, I think, has used it before, and
Okay.
she can help you get along with that.
Okay.
But are there days of the week that would be less preferable or more preferable? That's the key thing for us before he sits down with Sean and roughs out something.
I mean, I'd like to
serve
keep
ourselves.
ours Tuesdays, but with the
Tuesdays?
finance committee and everybody, it's all over the place, Jeff, you know?
It seems like they wanted Friday. For some reason, I was thinking they were like coming in Fridays, but I'm not.
I mean, one time we did Saturdays,
You could knock out a bunch on a Saturday morning.
yeah.
But then you got to
know,
bring all
so-
the folks in.
So it's really up in the air until we all start meeting and then decide when we all
Yeah.
can be there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
usually the first meeting, everybody looks at the calendar and says, okay, I can be there. So it really
I
doesn't
think
need to.
that's why we were doing Saturdays, because
Yeah.
mostly everybody was there available.
Yeah.
So you can try that.
And it
Well,
seems-
do you want to throw out Saturdays to look
Sure.
at Saturdays? Is
I don't
there,
have a problem with that.
Yeah.
all right, why don't you do that then for the operational budget hearings?
All right. Next, DPW Director. What do you got?
First thing, sorry that it's not in your packet, but a lot of this was late communication to me. So let's start with the big project, I guess, first. As you know, there's been a lot of discussion going around about the water line, about putting in the link from the West Hatfield well to Route 5. Whether it's the project, it's not the project, how are we going to fund it, can we fund it this way, do we have to borrow against the $2.4 million appropriation? Finally, it's been cleared up to the best of my knowledge that the ruling is that we can take it out of the operating budget as long as it was part of the project. And I think the determination from Michael is that it is part of the project. And the last discussion last week was we were going to wait till the spring to do it, but due to the workload in the spring, I think it would be wise to do it now, why things are slow between now and the winter months. So we have put the bid out. The bid is waiting to be awarded by this board, and we can definitely do it in-house. So I would just like the board to approve the bid that we received. The low bid was from
HD Supply.
HD Supply Waterworks in the amount of $19,236. The rental of the excavator is $2,000 a week. We figure 2 weeks at the most, so that's another $4,000. So the project's $23,236. I did ask Comprehensive Environmental what the cost of having a contractor do it between the engineering and doing the work. It's 1,400 feet of 6-inch water main. It's $100. They figured that's what they estimate when they put the projects out, $100 a foot. So you're talking $140,000 that you're doing in-house for $25,000 at the most, so,
Plus labor, yeah.
plus town
Plus
labor.
2 weeks' worth of labor.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I know we discussed it, and
I did confirm with DOR and
Yep.
Tom. Terry Williams confirms, the way to do it, simply deficit, the project's approved, you have an appropriation for it, simply deficit spend against that project.
no, that's fine.
Accountant will set up a project account, it'll charge against that as long as we make a payment or rectify the deficit spending before the end of the fiscal year. And town treasurer plans to borrow the money sometime later on in the spring when the major part comes into play, so simply take care of this small portion at that time. And it fits in with the work schedule, and it saves us money.
Yeah.
I move the Board of Selectmen approve award of the water main replacement project to HD Supply Waterworks for the sum of $19,236.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. I received an email from Ken Garber from Wemco. I'll just read it quickly to you. It says, "Hi Phil, when Hatfield reduced its number of streetlights in 2008 due to budget constraints, Western Mass Electric allowed town residents to have charges for the light put on their electric bill and keep the light on. Beginning in 2009, Wemco discontinued allowing residents to assume the charges for roadway streetlights in order to eliminate situations. Currently, there are 2 lights that have been abandoned as the residents no longer want to pay for the light, or the residents have moved and the new owner doesn't want to pay for it. Before I have the lights removed from the pole, I usually ask the town if they like to retain the light on their street light account. The 2 lights are located at 122 Depot Road and at 73 Depot Road. The cost is approximately $8 a month for each light. So I am bringing this to the board's consideration if you want to keep the lights turned on and add them to the street light account, or if you just want to discontinue the 2 lights.
My suggestion would be to have the police department take a look
Thank you.
at it and see what there is for a situation there, because if we're going to add any lights, I know there's a couple of intersections that are really, really dark.
No,
that we should-
that's at 22, that's a corner right
They're
there.
both on Depot Road.
Okay, but before I pay for a light in front of somebody's house, I would pay for it on an intersection that's going to be a little more dangerous, so that's how I would determine that, so I
Yeah,
think we should ask.
DPW and the chief of police developed a list, a priority list.
Yeah,
So they ought to go back and look at that, see where that sits on the list, and just as Ed suggests, and come back with it.
And I'll come back with it. Okay. Thank you. The other thing is that I have a little concern. I received a invoice from Rainer Door. The concern here is that, being the facilities director, I think that if anything happens in the town, or if a contractor's hired for any buildings, that I should be notified, because obviously I'm the one that they come to with the bills afterwards. This was not run through me. I just received the bill in my mailbox. I've noticed that M&S Electric's been working in the building, not under my call. I did not call them. I didn't know what they were doing until I asked. So I would ask the board to please remind the other departments of the right channels to go through if I'm going to be paying for the facilities maintenance bills that are occurring here without any knowledge of what's happened. So just bringing that to your attention, and I mean, the bill here, you know.
I know one of the things that Buster was not done, I guess, on that garage part. I guess, Jan, you mentioned something that the lights weren't in, and I mentioned to him that the lights weren't in. When he looked at it, he says, "Oh my God," he says.
Correct, and that
So
was,
they had to put
and
the
I knew
lights
that,
in.
I knew
Yeah,
about that, but
yeah.
I've noticed that yesterday all day, they were working downstairs in the building. And
Over here?
Oh, because
Yes.
of the short and the wire for the, that was an emergency thing, Phil. I mean, I called Buster to have him come in and take a look at that. My apologies that I didn't get in touch with you. The police department had a big short, wiped out the power in the room, and so they plugged in temporarily on the other side, and so that's how that happened. And they found a short in the wire downstairs in one of the long pipes, and they fixed that, so. I called on that one, and I apologize for not calling. That was kind of like an emergency situation, so.
Well, I move that the Board of Selectmen have the town administrator provide guidance to all the department heads that coordinate any maintenance work on facilities with the Director DPW in advance,
Unless it's an emergency.
unless there's some emergency consideration, and then they should follow up immediately with Director DPW. If he's expected to
It's common
pay,
courtesy
I mean,
to just do it, right,
you know,
exactly.
we should be in the loop.
But I mean, I would expect either one of you guys, or any one of us, if there's an emergency like that, just to
There's
get
true
somebody there to
emergencies,
fix
no
it.
one's going to have an
Yeah,
issue.
or
but
secure it,
True emergency.
yeah.
It's not a problem. I try to I've had a couple of situations that I've called him at home.
And usually I call and leave
so-
a message, and I didn't do
Yeah,
it this time,
that's-
so
Okay.
my apologies.
What else you have?
That's it.
I have one thing that I want to bring up. We have the new building inspector's pickup out here, or
Yes.
the new pickup for the building inspector. Can we get that into that?
We certainly can, as
They-
soon as we recover the keys that are out there from a few of the contractors that were working out there.
Oh, really?
And then we will get it to them.
Well, you
Yeah.
should have a remote, right?
Is that door,
There's one remote,
is there?
yes.
There's one remote for each door, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
okay.
right now, the police department has it because they have some stuff in
Yeah,
there.
but I was going to have him put it in the bay with the council on aging vans, that empty
Yes,
one
the
there?
police department has that remote.
Oh, okay. But there is room for that
Because they
pickup.
have their traffic signs in there.
All right, because they do
Yes.
have room. Yeah, because I mean, I hate to leave that pickup out.
No, it will
you know.
go in there
Yeah, but they
before the
don't,
weather changes.
they don't have a vehicle going in there, right?
No, but their stuff's in there, their ATVs are in there.
Yeah, but they
I
don't
mean, can
need, they
push
don't
that
need
up
a,
against the wall.
they don't need the
But they
remote.
have-
They can just have a
They
key.
have the remote, because we don't have the keys, because the electrician has the
Oh, okay,
keys.
that's why. Now I got it.
All right, so,
Okay.
So as soon as I get a key, I'll have some made.
okay. All right,
There's one more thing before you go on. I just want the board to be aware that two things. First is across the street. We have to put the sweeper in that barn back there. That's where it has to go. That's where it's been for years and years and years. So
oh, no, here.
currently, there's a vehicle in there. So someone has to take the liberty to inform them that we need to put the sweeper in there before winter. And the other thing is that we
What
have...
vehicle is in there?
What's
The
that?
mustard truck.
The mustard
Oh,
truck is
well.
in there. And the other thing is that we
That's
have to
the-
address, or who is in charge of changing street addresses? Because we're having a big problem right now.
Building
Building
inspector.
inspector.
Okay, we're having a big problem now with the changes that were made at the village,
Over here?
No.
Hatfield
Oh, up
Village.
there.
We have a lot of water bills going out, and they're going to the wrong addresses because they changed the addresses without notifying us. So if you're in Unit 19, now you're in Unit 22. For some reason, the numbers are changed down
So they
there.
went from odd to even?
Whatever happened, happened, but there's a problem now. Because
building
now we have to
inspector
go in there and
issues
delete
all-
all the accounts.
Now, did
Building
they do it, or did,
I think it has to come through the building department here.
The
I'm
building
pretty sure.
inspector issues all house numbers, every one of them.
Well, nobody
He's the one-
notified us, is what I'm
He's the
saying.
one that's in charge.
So now
Well, then you're-
the billing has gone
Yeah,
south.
well, that's something you need to
Deal with Stan.
correct with Stanley, number
Okay.
one, but
But that was just brought to my attention.
the linkage
today.
between the current number and the last number, he ought to have, so your bills can go, be redirected properly.
I'll deal with the mustard truck.
Thank you.
okay. You have anything else?
That's it.
Paul?
Yeah, just got a couple of things. Yeah, I put in your packet the abatement forms from the assessor's office. You know, we talked about maybe that might be useful. That is all that they have, at least according to the clerk. I looked at it, I didn't see where it provided any useful guidance to us. I thought I was going to be able to find some information on the Mass Municipal website, because I know they have a members forum where, you know, people ask for information, and, you know, fairly recently someone had asked, you know, does anybody have any ambulance abatement policies out there? So I got on the site and nobody had responded to it, so that was not of any help to me either.
How about Stan?
However, I do have my a stand meeting scheduled on Thursday, so I'm gonna pose the question then and see if I can get any useful information. And next,
But meanwhile, absent that, have we resolved what coastal was no longer able to work as of July, that was not going to FFR for collection, for further collection work, so that we could work on the July and August abatements?
They have...
Minus
yeah.
whatever piece that FFR is picking up?
Yeah, I have not got that
Okay.
resolved yet,
All
but
right.
I'll have that resolved for the next meeting.
All right.
I just received this today from Linda Maluski, and this is for the, well, I'll just read it to you. This memo was sent on behalf of the Real Folk Society of the First Congregational Church of Hatfield. We request permission to hold a food sale at the Town Hall Tuesday, November 6th, which is the day of the elections. Location at Main Street, entrance area, time approximately 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Real Folk Society very much appreciates the privilege we have had in conducting sales in previous years and asks for your consideration on the above. Please let me know your forthcoming decision. Thank you very much, Linda Maluski.
I don't have a problem with that. I believe they do it every year.
Yeah, they do it
on election time.
every election, they,
Yeah, Louise told me this is an annual event.
that's why I come to vote, basically.
Okay. Okay. Do we need to act?
Yeah, but just,
Yeah, I think you need some kind of a
Motion
vote,
to
yeah.
approve the request of the Real Folk Society for the food sale on 6th November?
I'll second.
a motion made, second, and all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. The last thing I've got, just want to talk about the meeting on the 16th. I've got Todd Ford coming in from the Hampshire COG, who just wants to update the board, on doings. I've also got Mike Ohl from CEI coming in, with some conversations with some of you. It doesn't seem like perhaps we all have a clear understanding of the water main project, so I thought it would be useful for him to come in and go over the whole thing again, so there's a confusion down the road. I also got a request today from the Open Space Committee, and they want to come in and talk about the park over here and, plans for redoing the park.
Great.
The park over where?
Right here.
The Smith Academy Park.
They want to talk to us about
They-
what?
they-
That's not our
That's not our, they have to talk to the
Smith
Smith
Chair,
Academy trustees.
trustees, Smith Academy trustees.
I think they're just trying to
Yeah.
start with us.
Yeah. I
They
think that's
understand who owns
We
it.
don't have anything to say or do
right.
with that park.
I think it's a,
But they'll be looking to us for support for the project.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
And you recall, there were some excellent designs in that greenway study we had from UMass landscaping folks. Had some very attractive workups of that area.
The UMass students had done
UMass
that?
landscaping, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Also, at the next meeting, I want to, talk about the budget process. I'm a new guy in town, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page as we move forward with this. So I just want to, get a little discussion going, make sure that we all are in agreement on, who's doing what, who's responsible for this, who's going to do this, that sort of thing, so this, moving forward, that it's a smooth process, hopefully.
Well, I think you're the key figure here because you're the one that tracks all the figures and
Yeah.
and puts them in the, on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, no, I
So
understand that.
you're the man.
Yeah.
Well, for the Board of Selectmen, you haven't, town administrator has not done that for the other,
I believe,
Departments.
whatchamacallit was
She
doing
works
it
with-
last year.
Well,
Louise-
you work with Louise with
Yeah.
that, with all the other boards.
Louise is...
yeah, that's probably why he wants to talk about this.
Is passing the baton,
Right.
as far as the spreadsheet, over to me.
And that's what she did to the previous town administrator.
Yeah,
He
Jeff.
started him on it.
Yeah.
But then he left us. So,
Then he
I
left.
see,
So
I see.
because that's what she
never-
wanted to do.
So is that the real discussion?
That's only part of it.
Okay.
You know, Finance Committee, Board of Selectmen, Town Administrator, Department Heads, I was just, you know, what is your understanding of how all this is going to work? Because it's, you know, every town does it a little bit differently.
Well, you've worked with Terry Williams' spreadsheet, so, and that's what we use. So
Yeah.
you're familiar with that.
Yeah. Actually, I'm familiar with, the spreadsheet I'm familiar with is a modified version of that. It doesn't have as many components. It's
Yeah,
a kind of a
ours is-
stripped-down version. But I'm familiar with it. And that's all I've got, I think.
Well, just a couple other things. Energy report, energy plan update, senior work-off plan. What else? Oh, the advertising for the town treasurer interim. That was out in September. Is that, who's going to be on the selection committee on that one?
For the
We
town
haven't really
treasurer?
talked about it.
Well, I thought,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought we did at one time. I've frankly forgotten what the mix was going to be. But I mean, that's,
Yeah.
that ought to be closing and ought to be interviews or whatever pretty soon.
Yeah, just another note. You know, we did advertise for the assistant, for the assistant treasurer's position, and that, you know, the deadline was Monday, and
Right.
we only received one applicant, so,
Okay, so we
That's where-
interview and,
yeah.
Now, who's going to interview?
That's what I'm just
us,
asking.
or-
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking. No, Louise had a suggested composition of that group. I've just frankly forgot what it was.
Yeah, well, as
But I know
have
it's time to do it and get
It's-
it over with.
Yeah, it's time to do it now.
So just,
Because seeing how we
Well,
just
what
have
did you-
one applicant, I think we should, you know,
Louise and Paul? You are basically the human resource directors.
yeah, but they're not hiring officials.
right.
It's hiring officials by interview.
Recommendation to, actually, we're not clear on that. Because Louise had a question as to whether she was the hiring authority on this or the Board of Selectmen, and I'm not sure if
Well,
that, if she
it's
ever
a
got
temporary
that
position
resolved.
under,
When she
Her and
resigns,
she-
it's a
yeah, but she is,
appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
yeah, but she is not resigning.
Right. This would be her assistant.
She is not resigning yet. This is,
Yeah.
right, this, she wants somebody to come in here just to get,
Transition.
To
Transitional
transition,
period.
Yeah.
so in reality, she's the one that hires now, but then when she leaves, then we either appoint or, but then by then, I think it's
Election.
election.
Yeah.
Well,
Or just before election. I think she leaves in March. So then we turn around and we appoint.
Well, instead of, let's speculating, how about we find out? All I knew
That
is
situation
Me
before.
neither, but that's how I can.
resumes were due and it's time to make a selection, so let's sort out
Yes.
who's going to be on the selection committee and get that orchestrated and who's the appointing
Could
authority.
you check, Paul, make sure that
Yep.
we're following the law
Will
on the
do.
appointment?
Yep.
We just don't want to make a
No.
mistake and have to do
No,
it
I
over
know.
again.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
Oh, I do have a couple other things while we're at it. Just a couple, we don't have to close on now, but, you know, the list that Paul's keeping on potential articles for town meeting. Town council sent us around the thing on the veterans work-off abatement.
Right.
It's similar, exactly similar to the senior work-off abatement. The legislature just passed that. We might want to look at that. And there's another one on establishing a compensated absence fund. Essentially, they're talking about a provision that was just passed that towns can set up a fund for essentially banking some money on people retiring. And, you know, so we don't go through some rigmarole at the end of the year when someone's going to retire and trying to take out of the operating fund their accumulated balance of leave. And so they're saying
Have like a reserve fund just for that. yeah.
they legislature just passed this, you can set up a compensated absence fund. Establish a fund to pay accrued liability for compensated absences. So that's another thing, but it's a local adoption.
This can be part of our budget process, right?
Well, it could be, but I mean, this is a local acceptance, so it has to go to town meeting.
Oh, it does have to go to town meeting.
Both of these would have to go to town meeting. The other one, the legislature's recently expanded the electronic billing. Earlier, we could do the, subject to the Board of Selectmen approval, town collector could e-bill for property, and now it's essentially opened up to e-billing for about any other taxes. So, subject again to a Board of Selection, specific action of approval, but that's something we might want to look at and facilitate her operation.
Well, certainly, Paul, start a folder on any of articles for town meeting. I'm going to need that.
Now, are we going to meet in executive session, or is that canceled?
Well, no, but I told Bill O'Neill, who wanted to come here to, you know, for executive session to talk about pending litigation, I thought this meeting was going to go much longer, and I told him, you know, like 8 o'clock, 8:30, and we're nowhere near that time.
I think I have his cell phone number.
I was gonna say, you know, I think we should give him a call.
Do you want, are you going to try and call him?
I might have him in my office.
Ed thinks he's got his...
Is there any other business, or we wanted to cover for Jane?
Not really.
Yeah, I do have his mobile number. So give him a quick call. We
Yeah,
can
but-
we'll adjourn the meeting and go into
Well,
executives.
let's go to, we can always just cancel out of executive session if we have
That's
to.
true. That's true.
I move the Board of Selectmen enter executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, and the chairman so declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the Board of Selectmen.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made, motion's been seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Lesko,
Squirrel,
aye.
Adamski, aye. And we will not be returning to regular session, so anybody like a...
Motion to adjourn?
Motion's been made to adjourn, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.